Welcome to the Bob Network. Let's talk about wheels. In the early days, you could only get steel wheels from the factory. These were mostly painted black or possibly body color. They did not usually come in wider sizes, so you couldn't mount performance tires on them, and they weren't particularly attractive. So, in order to dress them up, most automakers offered hubcaps. As you can see in this photo, many hubcaps ended up somewhere besides on those steel wheels because under hard cornering, they would often come loose and fall off and end up in pieces on the side of the road. As performance cars became more popular, many people turned to aftermarket wheels that offered lighter weight and more sizes so they could mount wider tires on their cars. And one of the most popular of those was the Krager SS. Here shown in a chrome finish. I believe you could also get it in just a plain alloy painted finish, but it was a very attractive wheel, your classic 5-spoke design. That was followed by the Keystone Classic, which is one of my favorites of all time. I believe this one became popular probably late 60s through the mid 70s. I know you can still buy them in different places for your classic car. So anybody has any further information on that, feel free to add it in the comments. This is the Mini Light. The Mini Light was used in racing and on street cars in the 60s in everything from small British sports cars all the way up to Trans Am cars. One of the early adopters to nice wheels you could buy from the factory was Pontiac, and Pontiac was General Motors' performance division. I like this. This is a nice variation on the 5-spoke design. It's got a lot of depth to it, a couple different colors, nice finish. This one's also a variation on the 5-spoke, and to me, it just looks like one of those wheels that's moving while it's still standing still, as many people say about a lot of performance cars. This 3-spoke variant was offered on a variety of Pontiac car lines, and I think this is a very creative looking wheel as well. And then there's the snowflake wheel, which I remember the Pontiac had several different Esprit models, one of which was the Bluebird. I think they had a Redbird model, and they would show this wheel painted to match the body color. You could also get this on the Trans Am, you could get it on the Formula, and I'm pretty sure you could get it on the Grand Prix. But once again, if you know more than I do, let me know in the comments below. This is a more modern Pontiac wheel, which obviously Pontiac hasn't been around for a while, but this was one of their later offerings, which again, I find to be an attractive take on the 5-spoke design. This is an early Ford Mustang wheel, and I would like to say that I would guess that once Shelby came involved in the program, they decided to go ahead and put some lightweight, handsome wheels on their cars. And again, classic 5-spoke design, but a little different from all the others. And here is a later Ford offering. I'm sure I missed a bunch of them, so please feel free to post your photos and offer us some of your favorites. Chrysler has always seemed to have great car designs. This is a Chrysler Laser, and I'm not sure what they called these wheels, but someone spent a lot of time drilling holes into lightweight wheels, and I think they look pretty cool. And this happens to be a car that I owned, and these were the wheels that came on it. This was the base model Daytona Turbo. It was not a Turbo Z, which had a ground effects kit and had the Holy wheels on it. But even though these seem to be like a take on the old wire wheel design, they're kind of flat, really not any dish to them. But I thought they looked good on that car, and I loved that color. So had to include them here. Here's a offering current offering from Ram. You can get these on a Ram 1500. These are like 22-inch wheels, and pickup trucks have traditionally had some boring wheels, but I thought these stood out and looked very nice. And here are wheels off of a Saab SPG. Um, may look boring these days with some of the advances we've made in wheels, but this design was pretty revolutionary when it came out. This is an Enkei wheel. If I'm saying that wrong, you can correct me as well, but I think it's a little more attractive than the Saab 3-spoke, and they definitely had some fantastic designs. This is one of the greatest looking cars ever, in my opinion. The Isuzu Impulse, also known as a Piazza in other markets. Don't know what they call these wheels, but kind of like square pegs in round holes, I guess. Thought they looked great on this car. This is a Hyundai wheel, and Hyundai seems to offer a few creative choices on the Genesis and the Kia and the Hyundai. I like these. And here's another one. Once again, these are all variations on the 5-spoke, 5-lug design, but different colors, different patterns, different textures kind of make them stand out. This is off of the Audi R8, and this is a really radical take on the 5-spoke. Once again, one of those wheels that looks like it's moving while it's not. Here's a Renault Alpine, and this car has these turbofan style wheels. I believe Enkei made an aftermarket version of this, and I think several manufacturers had similar wheels. I always thought they were interesting and unique. Here's a Mazda wheel. It's the rotary wheel that resembles the rotor inside of the Mazda rotary motors. And you could get this on the RX-7, and I imagine you could probably get it on a couple of their other rotary models. Not the most ambitious design, but it's kind of cool that it actually mirrors the mechanicals on the car. Here's the Porsche Fuchs wheel. This was offered on 911s probably since the 911 existed. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Um, yeah, not the most attractive wheel, but it is definitely an icon. And here's a more modern Porsche offering, which kind of a spiderweb looking take on the 5-spoke. Very nice wheel. I'm sure you have your favorites. I know I haven't included a lot of them, but I'd love to see your thoughts and your photos. Thanks for watching. Bye.